So, Alice and Noemi, I'll let you know. You can tell me when you think we're ready to start, or if we should keep on waiting as people are coming in. For those of you who are already here, my name is Charlotte Dufour. I have the pleasure of being your moderator this afternoon or this morning, depending on where you're calling in from. I'm the interventions advisor in the CoFSA Secretariat. Pleasure to be welcoming all of you. I see we are being joined by people from around the world. And as you join us today, I invite you, if you wish to say a little hello in the chat, you can introduce yourselves, maybe say where you are calling from or joining in from. I also take this moment to invite you to invite nature as you relate to it into our meeting. Maybe you can say where you are, or if there's a particular place that you'd like to evoke, particular landscape, or a particular animal or plant that for you holds a special space. Please take this moment to also welcome nature as a participant or as participants in its many expressions in the way that is most dear for you. I myself am here in Burgundy. It's a place of hills and forests. We also have beautiful sites with stones that are very ancient. So it's a land that has a beautiful vibration, and I'm bringing this landscape in my heart, in my mind with me into this meeting. And I invite all of you to do so. Beautiful. So we have almost all the continents already represented. And I'll be starting in just 1 minute. Thank you for these sharings. I see we speak about water, about landscapes, about tropical forests. Okay. Welcome everybody. As I mentioned before, my name is Charlotte Dufour. I work with the CoFSA Secretariat, the Conscious Food Systems Alliance. This event is gathered by the Conscious Food Systems Alliance in collaboration with the FACS community. FACS is Food and Agricultural Commodity Systems community. So it's a pleasure to be jointly here today. I'll be moderating this session in a way with two hats. I'm part of the CoFSA Secretariat. I also have the pleasure of having co-founded a little NGO called Listening Inspires, which holds a Listening to the Earth campaign. So the theme of today's session, nature connection, is one that is very, very close to my heart indeed, and I'm sure to all of yours, which is why you're here. This session is part of the CoFSA consciousness practice sessions. So it means it's really about an experience. And I invite you therefore to, sure, be here with your mind and your thoughts, but also your senses and your heart. And to help us enter that space, we will have beautiful offerings by Luis Camargo and Zara Waldebäck. I'll say a few words about them before we can go into our meeting. So you see their photos here, but maybe I think we can stop sharing the slide and going to the speaker views. Greetings, everybody. So a few words about Luis Camargo, who works with OpEPA. He is the founder and director of the Organization for Environmental Education and Protection, a non-profit devoted to the advancement of nature-based and regenerative education, heritage interpretation, and weaving. He is also a co-founder of the Weaving Lab, which aims to create thriving learning ecosystems by helping change leaders to become more aligned, collaborative, and systemic. And if that weren't enough, he's also a climate reality leader for the Climate Reality Project and part of the core team of the Regenerative Communities Network. That's actually a theme we'll be talking about in CoFSA next month as well, regenerative communities. And Zara Waldebäck teaches nature awareness and creative soul practices. She helps people connect with the living world. I've actually met Zara through some of her courses and confirmed that she does so very efficiently. And she works with systemic nature constellations and rites of nature, and has also developed stories of nature, an animate storytelling method to better hear the voice of the earth. And she's part of the Scandinavian Center for Shamanic Studies and teaches online and internationally, including in Schumacher College, in Ora, Italy, in Hungary, Ireland, the UK, China, and Russia. And I believe she's joining us from the United States this morning. So thank you very much, Luis and Zara, for being with us today. We're going to start the session with Luis guiding us through an experience that he will share, and he'll also bring in some of his own, anything he wants to share about this theme of nature connection. Just, to relate nature connection to food systems. In CoFSA, we're really trying to address what many see as a loss of connection that has taken place, loss of connection with ourselves, with each other, in the food systems, and with nature. We often eat food off a supermarket shelf, forgetting maybe the soil that has nourished the plant that has given the fruit, or the animal that has been fed on a meadow. So in this session, we really want to reconnect with nature around us, also nature within ourselves. And I invite Luis now to start. And after Luis has guided us in this practice, we'd love to hear from all of you. And we'll go into small groups, and I'll guide us all into that small group exchange right after Luis has guided us in this practice. So Luis, over to you.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of us present. It is beautiful to be here with so many from so many places. Definitely just looking at your faces makes me feel planetary citizenship, and that is beautiful. So I don't know, since you're in many time zones, many of you might have been sitting for a while. So I invite you for 30 seconds, stand up, reset, walk around your space, shake it up, shake your body, stretch, do whatever you need to reset the moment, and invite a new space that we're gonna bring in. So move around and just shake it up. And once you're sitting back down, you can be standing, sitting on the floor, wherever you want, but make sure if you're sitting to put your feet flat on the ground, so you're truly in a disposition to be connected towards the earth. And if you're sitting straight up, so you're connected towards the sky. So I salute you from Bogota, Colombia. I'm currently in South America today. A sunny day, which is beautiful, in a very rainy time. So let's get ready. The idea is I'm going to guide you through a visualization. It's going to be divided into two parts, and you'll see when it switches, or you'll feel. But I invite you to just be open-hearted, open-minded, and really try to, when I call on you to move your attention to different parts of your body, or to visualize, allow for the emergence of all the images and feelings to come up. You can have your eyes open or closed as you wish. So let's take a deep breath and start getting into the mood. Take a deep breath, tense all your body, your muscles, and let go. With your exhalation, just release all the tensions in your body. Take a second deep breath, settle your body down to be comfortable, feeling relaxed but attent. And with this next breath, I would like you to really focus your attention to your heart and try to feel the warmth around your heart. And just hold that field. Feel your heart. Try to visualize whatever color your heart is showing you at this time. Take a deep breath and hold your focus to your heart. And with your next inhale, focusing and building the energy of your heart, I want you to start projecting this energy to move down through your hips, through your both legs, reaching the ground, your feet, and expanding beyond your feet. Try to visualize that energy starting to move downward towards the earth. If you're in a building, it has to move through different spaces, but visualize all the spaces and generate that energy connection until you reach the ground. And as you reach the ground, feel the temperature change. You start moving into a cooler, moist soil and moving deep into the ground with this energy being projected that's connected directly to your heart. Feel the ground. Notice how it feels. Notice how it makes you feel. Now, as you move forward, think of this energy as roots that start opening up and branching out into myriads of little arms that move through the soil. Start becoming like a mycelium network, connecting, touching everything underneath the ground. And you realize the amount of life that exists in this soil. Microorganisms, insects, worms, fungi, seeds that are encapsulated, and just hold your connection to everything that's underneath the soil. Remember, the soil supports all life above the surface. And this, what you're connecting to, is ultimately what supports our own lives too. Hold that. Take a deep breath. And maintaining your connection to the ground and your roots set, bring your attention back to your heart. Keep in your visual field and try to move away from your body and visualize yourself and your root system, how it's penetrating and connecting and moving your energy all around into the earth. Take another deep breath. Okay, with your next breath, we're gonna hold this energy from the heart and now project it up towards the sky. So let the energy as you exhale move up from your heart through your neck to your head, moving through your crown into the sky like a huge stream of energy, a fountain of energy that moves up across the space into the clouds and the blue sky. And as you reach the height, it starts losing strength and starts feeling like a true fountain and branches out like a water fountain into the air all around you. Little drops of energy that are connected between each other start falling, creating a canopy of energy that surrounds you from the sky, falling down. As it falls down, feel the air, the changes in temperature, from cold to warmer, the humidity, going through the clouds, until you start reaching the canopy of the trees and start touching some leaves. Some drops continue falling, other drops hit rocks, and you start hitting the canopy of plants, trickling down and dropping from one plant to the other plant, touching the animals, birds that are singing, dropping into the bushes, and finally, all those drops of energy touching the ground once again. And as you touch the surface of the ground, feel the tension between the sky and the earth, and realize that you start seeping into the ground and it's all connected. As you move back into the ground, this energy that came from the sky starts finding the little branches of energy and roots you had set into the ground. Feel the connection. Feel how you start realizing the energy flows circularly from your heart to the sky, to the ground, to your heart, to the sky, to the ground, to your heart, or vice versa, down to the ground, back to the sky, to your heart. And hold this energy field. It's a huge torus, or imagine a donut that's humongous around you, encompassing all the energy that you represent and you emanate. This energy that is actually touching and connecting with the energy fields of everything that's in the ground, on the surface, and on the canopy and the rest of the earth. Take a deep breath and hold this feeling. Feel your sense of being nature, being connected, and being part, energy-wise, of everything that is around you. Take a deep breath and hold it 1 second. Okay, maintaining this energy field around you, I want you now to come back to your heart, and we're going to do the second part of this visualization. So hold the torus, but I want you to travel down your roots into the soil and find one of the seeds that was in the soil when you set your roots. Realize how this seed is being nourished by everything that's around it. The moisture starts softening the cover, the skin of the seed. And as it softens, you feel the latent energy of the seed starting to wake up. And you see it crack and start sprouting, moving up through the soil until it breaks the surface. As it breaks the surface, feel that you're growing with this little plant that starts feeling the sunlight, the air, and the moisture around it, and feels invigorated and nourished, and starts growing. Keeps on growing into a twig that grows into a bush with many leaves, that keeps on growing until it starts building the energy to grow a beautiful expression of life, a flower. As it feels the sun, brings the water, and all these elements that are collaborated underneath the soil to nourish, it gathers the strength to actually create the most beautiful and colorful flower you've ever seen. Become that flower, feel that flower. What colors do you have? As you become that flower, you hear in the distance the buzzing sound of insects that are flying all around you. One of these comes close and goes away. Bzzz, bzzz, until you start hearing it stays close to you, and suddenly you feel it fall on your leaves, on the flower, and you feel resonance, how the sound of the insect and your energy are excited. This insect is a bee that starts walking around the flower, looking for this nectar, this precious nectar that you have created by taking the energy of the sun and transforming it into sweet nectar, full of all the nutrients coming from the soil, from the fungi, from the microorganisms, and all those elements that have shared their bountiful resources, so you could create this sweet nectar. As the bee walks around you, you feel it caressing you with the back where all the pollen is being laid. And you know in your heart as a flower that this bee will help you reproduce and create many more beautiful flowers. At that moment, you jump onto the bee and you feel yourself expressed in the bee as the bee raises flight and starts flying away. Now you're seeing the flower externally as it stays further and further away, and you fly through the prairie, into the forest, out into another prairie, until you find your large home or honeycomb. You move into your comb and deposit that sweet nectar coming from the flower into one of the containers created to hold it. As this happens, you hear several other bees start buzzing around it, and you feel the breeze that comes from that. And you feel as nectar starts becoming more viscous, more dense, water evaporating, and this sweet nectar starts becoming honey, ultimately. You hear a big sound and thump, and you see this sweet man walking with part of the honeycomb and starting to take this honey flowing down into a jar, a glass jar. And now you're this honey that is starting to be contained by this beautiful people that are tending the bees, tending the flowers, and always making sure the community is healthy and thriving. As you become honey in this jar, you hear the rumble of a car, and you feel the movement as you were being transported under the care of this sweet man or woman towards the city. As this man delivers the honey, you start hearing the voice of your mom, your dad, or your grandmother. And she's actually receiving this jar of bee with the intention of taking it home. You feel heartwarm until you realize the flask is being opened. And as honey, you look at yourself sitting on the table and seeing how the finger of yourself is reaching out into the flask, touching the honey and into your mouth. So now that you have been the plant, the honey, the bee, the finger, you feel that flavor of nectar and honey touching your tongue. And remember the last time you tasted honey, and realize that honey is not only honey. Honey is a great collaboration, radical collaboration of many elements, many little critters, many energies, many elements that are all connected, bringing this beautiful flavor of honey to your mouth. So hold this memory of honey in your mouth and take a deep breath and open your eyes, and you can start coming back here. So we have just a minute or so, but I want to invite you, if you have maybe a word or a couple of words you want to share with us in the chat of what you felt, what you're feeling right now. And my invitation ultimately with this process is one of two things. The first one is realizing that our energy fields are actually thoruses, like the one you visualized. And thoruses are all connected because we're always having energy particles moving from one system to the next. So ultimately, every single day, at every single moment, we're sharing ourselves with others, other forms of life, other people, and the planet itself. So this is one thought that I want you to hold and be able to bring to you at any moment. Create this torus and become really aware of the impact of your energy. And if you're full of love, this energy can expand and encompass everything around you. If you're full of fear, sometimes it feels contracted and close to you. So maybe that's when you have to focus in your heart and release it again to open up and share the bounty of your energy. And the second thing is that for me, when we're talking about conscious food systems, in my personal experiences, I really came to the realization that food is definitely the element that most constantly allows us to connect to all life on the planet. And this is fundamental. And for me, honey became that icon because at least I love honey. And when honey touches my tongue, I feel the awakening of all my cells and my mind and happiness and joy. But I have to understand, and I've learned to understand that joy, that happiness starts coming from the sun. It comes from the soil. It comes from the rain. It comes from everything that collaborated radically to create that incredible magical drop of honey. And if we extrapolate this to any other food element that we enjoy from nature, it's the same thing. Everything in nature is radical collaboration in function of everything else. So I think this is the other learning, is that not only we are nature, we're not alone, is we are in function of creating a radical collaboration with all life around us to generate and foster and enable a healthy planet, a healthy system, where joy is about sharing our bounties with others and combining that love to create new ways and new elements, new magic, to create more magic. So with this, I want to open up again to thank you for experiencing this, for allowing yourself to be in this, and invite you to not only be an intentional, food or eater, and have that consciousness of sustainability, responsibility, and doing right choices intentionally in this transition that we need to do, but also to be fully conscious in your connection through your food to everything around and to all life on the planet.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Luis. That was beautiful. It made me think of the words of one of my friends who says that we are cells of the greater body of the planet Earth. I also felt very, very connected to all of you when you invited us to connect to the mycelia in the soil. I was like, well, the mycelia of the soil that Luis is standing on is some way connected to the mycelia of the soil where I am standing. And thank you for that very regenerative power, and for also mentioning the joy and the love. My favorite SDG is SDG 0, the 18th SDG of joy and love, which is the one that infuses all of the others and is actually the ultimate goal we all thrive for. So, which is about sharing and giving, not about accumulating. So with that, I think we want to hear from all of you. And I'd like to just take a moment to appreciate the precious work Noemi has been doing to put the session together. Noemi is like me in the CoFSA Secretariat. It's hosted by UNDP. And she's going to zap us out into breakout rooms. So we'll be in groups of 3s. And the invitation is for each of you to take four minutes or so, because you have a total of 15 minutes, so share that time wisely, to share your story. Each of you, one at a time, take a few minutes to share a story of a moment of nature connection that was meaningful and transformative for you, either a one-off or maybe something you do daily. Speak as Luis did, with the heart, with the senses, with your aliveness. And so we just invite you to have this moment of sharing your nature connections. You're going to be zapped out and you'll be zapped back in about 15 minutes. So enjoy that moment. It was a very short, because it was 10 minutes, right, Noemi, that we had? Sorry, but I hope all of you had a moment to share, and that it was as inspiring as it was for me and Irene in our group. I think we'd love to hear a little bit some of the highlights of your conversation, not the detail. And I think for that, Noemi's going to put a Menti survey so who can create a word cloud. So you can see in the chat, if you can all mute yourself, if that's okay. But if you can see the chat, you can go to menti.com and use the code 5417485, and that will be there. You will have basically a word cloud where you can put some of the words that came to you as you were sharing your story, or something you would like to share. Be creating word cloud. But also, as we do that, if any of you want to take the floor, just a few seconds to share a feeling or an image or something that you felt was very precious in your group exchange, please just raise your hand and I'll be happy to hand you the floor. If you want, for example, in our group, we evoked the magic of the Andes and the Sacred Valley and how inspiring it was for us Europeans to discover the concept of Pachamama, which made us realize that the land is like a nurturing mother, very much alive. Any of you want to share some insights from your little conversations? The floor is open. Don't be shy. Yes, Madhavan. Can you unmute?
Hello, everyone. Good meeting you, everyone, again. So I attend this events by a few scientific laureates. So they find this inspiration from nature really good, actually. And there have been really wonderful breakthrough revolutions going around. So I just want to point out that nature is like an amazing thing. And it is, it has been a revolution and made revolution in scientific community, actually. Thank you.
Charlotte, you're muted.
Yes, sorry, I'm seeing, thank you. I see that we're having some challenges with the polls, right? So if the poll is not working, maybe just use the chat. Or Noemi, you're opening the screen.
Yeah, as you can see in the screen.
So yes, there we go. Hey, thank you. It keeps moving. So we have enlightenment, also connected is a center. You can all see that. And I think that's wonderful. CoFSA is really about reconnecting in many ways. Inspiration, we have love, joy, cheeky, that's also fun, friendly, peaceful, released, uplifted, rooted, curious, the sense of wow and amazingness, interbeing, connection to our past, beautiful, connection to our present. I'm also most tempted connected to the future. I see Sigrid, you have your hand up. Please take the floor.
I work as a homeopath. I'm teaching doctors in Germany since past 20 years. So in classical homeopathy, we say that every person has a so-called constitutional remedy from nature, which keeps on healing. So I have mine since 35 years. It costs 20 euros, not even. And I've been healing for 35 years from whatever, emotional, physical. And so because this works for me, I studied homeopathy and then became a teacher. And so in my experience, people inwardly know what from nature will heal them. This can be a mineral, this can be a plant, even a plant they've never seen. This can be something from the animal kingdom. And so since 20 years, I conduct these sessions daily of 2 hours in which we sort of go to this inner knowing of what in nature is the substance which would heal that person. So this is a process to contact the inner knowledge. And then we have software and big books of, reading up stuff. So we have the whole homeopathic knowledge of 200 something years, 5,000 substances to find the exact substance. So that's what I'm on since long. And I could also guide a little experiential session of 15, 20 minutes. So where people can go towards what in nature heals them, as I've been doing this for many years now.
Thank
in
you.
a group session, that's also possible.
Thank you. And well, feel free to put your contact details in the chat if you would like people to reach out. And thank you, all of you, for sharing in the cloud. And thank you, Sigrid, also for really emphasizing the healing dimension of nature and also of food. It's very striking how in many traditional medicines, whether it's Ayurveda or other traditions, the number one medicine is food. And we all know that a healthy diet is the first thing to be healthy in general. So thanks for these stories, and keep them in your heart with your senses. And I'm now going to turn to Zara, who's going to guide us into another moment of opening our consciousness to the richness of nature and how through nature we can have a more enriching, nourishing relationship to food, but also how through food and how it's cultivated, it's eaten, we can have a more enriching connection with nature. So Zara, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, being here. Thank you, Luis, for bringing us into this beautiful connection. And I always like to start by listening. So I invite you to take a moment with me now to listen. Listen to your body. Listen to any sounds around you, inside or outside. They're all part of our world and all part of our life. And expanding your senses, listen for the voice of nature. Listen for the voice of the earth. Maybe you know how to hear it. Maybe you have no idea. But keep this intention in mind, this wish, as I'm going to continue to talk. Just know that today you are open to hear the voice of the earth. Thank you. So for me, I always like to remind myself that I don't only work for the earth, I work with the earth. And like everything, it is a relationship and hopefully a reciprocal and nourishing one for both sides. So I can come into feeling, what do I receive today and what do I give today? To the people around me, my communities, my work, but also with the earth. And when I begin to connect with the earth as a living, breathing being, I can begin to connect not only through my mind, my body, my senses, but also my soul. So just take a moment, whether you know your soul or not, whether you know what it is or not, it's not important right now. Just open, see if you can open for a moment from your soul to the soul of nature. That connection is open and possible and will always be with you. And I encourage you now, I invite you to think of a place where you feel at home. Think of a place where you feel at home. Maybe it's where you live or work or walk. Maybe it's a place you're building on. Maybe it's a place you're growing on, tending, farming, or harvesting. Think of a specific place where you feel welcome and at home. And take a moment now to connect with this place through your senses, your being, and see if you can also connect with it with your soul. This is a living, breathing place. And here you meet each other. As you stand here or sit here, I invite you to become more aware of what is present in this place. What are its natural resources? What is available here in this place that is freely and joyfully given to you? What is available here in this place that is freely and joyfully given to you? How do you want to receive this natural gift from the place? Feel yourself receiving this natural gift from the place. What does it want to offer you today? What is it offering you today in the knowledge that it will serve and nourish you both? Feel yourself receiving the free and true nourishment that helps you to also give freely in joy. As you feel yourself receiving this free, beautiful, joyful nourishment available to you, feel how it comes together in you and combines with your soul, with who you truly are, with your gift that you bring to the world. Supported by this natural nourishment that you receive so easily, feel yourself now connecting with this soulful natural gift that you want to share. And see yourself like the flower with the nectar, sharing it freely, showing your gift, enjoying your gift, letting your soul be luscious and free and resonant and connected. How does it feel to give from a place of joy and soulful truth? Take a moment now to come back to yourself, and maybe you want to put a word or two in the chat as I continue to talk for a moment. my partner, Jonathan Horwitz, that I co-teach a lot with, he was given this beautiful words, this phrase from his spirit teachers, which is to give without losing and to receive without taking. To give without losing and to receive without taking. And this for me has become the ground which I stand on when I relate to life. And so I invite you to also consider what this phrase means to you. And when we come into relationship with the living earth, there is this knowledge, that the deep knowledge and the deep trust that we are nourishing each other. That as we receive the beautiful clean water and the beautiful vibrant food, it does connect us and it does grow in us. And so as we receive the food and the water, we're also receiving the voice of the earth. We are nature, and we are also the voice of the earth. So if you allow yourself to receive the voice of the earth through your relationship, through the food, through the water, through the air we breathe, what would you say today if you let the voice of the earth speak freely in you and through you? What would you say today if you let the voice of the earth speak freely in you and through you? And again, if you want to share something in the chat or maybe just sit with that, that is wonderful. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard of the wonderful professor of botany called Robin Wall Kimmerer from the Potawatomi people here in what is now called the USA, the colonized lands of Turtle Island. And when she was listening to her elders, she realized that there were guiding principles for how to be together with life and the earth. And she chose to call these the honorable harvest principles. And I just want to read them up to you. And as I do that, maybe feel one or two that really lands with you today, that speaks to you. And think about what that says to you about how you want to be with the earth, how you want to be with the land and the water and the air and the fire, and how you want to be with food. If we bring the guiding principles of the honorable harvest to all that we do, and especially in our relationship to food. So these are the guidelines that Robin Wall Kimmerer shares in her book, Braiding Sweetgrass. Know the ways of the ones who take care of you, so you may take care of them. Introduce yourself. Be accountable as the one who comes asking for life. Ask permission before taking. Abide by the answer. Never take the first. Never take the last. Take only what you need, and take only that which is given. Never take more than half. Leave some for others. Harvest in a way that minimizes harm. Use it respectfully. Never waste what you have taken. Share. Give thanks for what you have been given, and give a gift in reciprocity for what you have taken. Sustain the ones who sustain you, and the earth will last forever. And this is something we know, all of us here, I am sure. Sustain the ones who sustain us, and the earth will last forever. And so we can move out of this fear-based relationship that there won't be enough, that somehow I have to grab and grasp and be greedy for what I need, because somewhere deep inside my soul, I don't trust that there is enough. But what if we go into this more trusting and deep soulful relationship with the earth, with the places that we are on? And instead of taking, we learn more about how can I receive in an honorable way? And how can I give what my gift is in an honorable way? Because the earth needs us to share our honorable gifts, our soulful truth. And so I was thinking about this. I have a very interesting and complex relationship with, I wouldn't call it my garden, but the place where I live in Sweden. And I'm in constant communication. And I realized after the first few years, I was really trying to force it into what I wanted it to be, where I wanted things to grow, the things I wanted to grow there. And I realized at some point, I want to stop fighting this land. I want to listen to this land and ask it, where do you want me to plant certain plants? Where do you want me to water? What kind of fertilizer do you need and when? Tell me, let me know. I'm here, I'm listening. And so for any of you who are gardeners or working with farmers, I invite you to come into this deeper relationship with the land, that if we work with the place and not just on the place, there will be a much vaster richness that the place can give of itself and its natural resources, what it was meant to give. Imagine yourself that you're being asked to give something that you are not able to give, that is not you, that is not your natural resources. It's confusing and difficult and painful. And why would we ask the land to do that? So my work is to constantly try to deepen into what wants to be offered where, and how can I listen more deeply to what is naturally offered to me. And then I know that we are both being nourished in the way that we meet and come together. And I'm coming to the place as a living being and saying, what can I naturally receive from you? And this is a really different way of farming and also eating, you know. And another thing you can do is walk around the supermarket or your farmer's market or your garden and say to your body, what do you naturally want to receive today, rather than your idea of what you want to eat or think you should eat. So your body can have a conversation with the food and the land and the water and the air. What do we want to be? What do we want to receive? What is on offer? Relate to the land, relate to the food, relate to the body, relate to the soul. And at some point, what I want to do now with you, coming into a short meditation, is I want to invite you to consider how it feels to you today to have enough. If you want, you can close your eyes, or you can look around you with open eyes. I want to invite you into the knowledge that what you have today is enough. Your body is enough. Your soul is enough. Your mind is enough. You have all you need right now. What you need today is being given to you today. We have enough time. We have enough nourishment. We have enough energy. We have enough connection. It will not feel the same every day, but every day I invite you to open to the possibility that we have enough, that the earth is offering us what we need if we pay attention, connect, and restore. And maybe this will teach us what we do need, not what we want, but what we do need. Listen to the earth, and it will teach us more, remind us again of what we truly need. So just for a moment again, come into a place of receiving. Trust the earth, and trust that you are being given what you need today. I want to say a few short words as I wrap up about gratitude. and why I feel that gratitude is a radical act when we're living in an extractive system. Many of you might remember that when you were children, you were asked or taught to give thanks to the food before beginning to eat. And I would add thanks to the water before we begin to drink. And I've started doing this a lot more in the last few years. And what I do is I had to really shift away from this feeling of I should be grateful and I must be grateful and somebody else is telling me to be grateful, to the feeling of I am grateful. I am so deeply grateful for the food I am being given and the water I am being given. And it gives me a moment before I imbibe, before I receive, to connect, as Luis so beautifully showed us, the incredible connections that the food and the water bring us, not only as an idea, but truly as an energetic reality. And so taking that moment to say thank you reminds us that we are receiving, not taking. And we can then fully receive what is actually being given. And maybe, even though the earth seems depleted and polluted, I have a strong conviction that the power of the earth is still very alive. And the more we receive it, the more it will grow. So take a moment today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, before you eat, before you drink, just a moment to remember what you are receiving and why it means so much to you. Thank you, everybody, so much for your presence and for being your particular soul in this life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zara. And thank you for sharing these precious teachings by Robin Wall Kimmerer. And Noemi has been preparing, also with Zara and Luis's help, a beautiful library of resources that she'll be sending all of you by email after this call, including the connections to this beautiful book. And I'm thinking we should actually also put directly the Honorable Harvest Guidelines on the CoFSA website. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Zara. You have them there ready. We have about 10 minutes or so where we'd like to hear from you. That's an open plenary. It can be questions for Zara and Luis. It can be in your own experience or reflections. I mean, we are an alliance of the CoFSA community, Conscious Food Systems Alliance, and the FACS community. So we're all working on food. If you want to share also any reflections on how we can bring more of these deep soul connections with nature in our work, on policy, on research, on projects to transform our food systems, because this is a nourishing session, of course, for now, for today, for each of us personally. But I feel the ambition of CoFSA is also to leverage the power of such moments so that we can accelerate the much needed transformation of our food systems. So the floor is open. Please feel free to raise your hands and bring questions, reflections, experiences, suggestions, references. And you can also use the chat, of course. Thomas, our wonderful technical advisor for CoFSA, the man who's making it all happen together with Andrew.
I was not expecting you would give me so quickly the floor, but no, just to say, just a very practical example. How do we bring that into work? You know, first through this kind of just having a grounding or a moment of connection to the earth before we discuss. And if we want to make it a step forward, if we want to make that even more present, is just simply to, and some governance systems are starting to do that, give the earth a seat into the decision. Just, you know, if we can have, you know, in all of our governance system, if we can have someone, often these are indigenous people, representing, you know, Mother Earth or the ecosystems at stake, and maybe we can even turn, you know, so that everyone can connect to that point of view of, you know, what is the earth thinking, feeling about all discussions, you know, just be able to take that point of view, I think would be a great step, and can be very, this can be a very practical idea, easy to advance. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Indeed. And I know in the Listening to the Earth campaign, for example, we invite take 1 minute at the beginning of your meeting to just, think of nature, connect to nature, a little bit like Luis invited us to do. It can be in 1 minute, but gives a whole other twist to nature. I loved also in what Zara was saying that the principle of reciprocity. We have a good friend and member of the CoFSA Alliance, Mindahi Bastida, who is from Mexico. And he always brings back this importance of reciprocity. And I've been wondering, what would a policy of reciprocity in food systems or in food value chains look like concretely? And how can we bring in reciprocity in all we do in food systems transformation? Any other thoughts or ideas on how we can bring this more to the fore concretely? I saw a hand going up somewhere. Yes, Philip, please.
Hi there. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I think I've been lucky. I was in the fruit and vegetable business for distribution processing for much of my life. And now I'm working with family businesses or families in agriculture on succession planning. And so there's this knowledge that goes with families that goes back, and there's generational memories that can either be lost, like it's family amnesia, or they get passed on to the next generation with the connection to nature that these different growers around the world understand. So I think it's important to nurture that and think of also the family system and the transition within the family that's connected to the land. And I remember one time I was in this beautiful vineyard in Chile. The grapes were the size of watch dials, and there were 7 brothers tending the grapes, 7 sisters and the daughters tending the packing operation. And we asked one of the oldest brother, how did you get this vineyard to be like this and the soil to feel like a trampoline? And he went to the trunk of one of the vines that was about this big around, and he put his ear to it and he said, I listen to what the vines tell me, and I bring them what they need. I bring them what they ask for. So it's that connection that we have to nurture, that connection also to help feed the world. So thank you. It's nice to meet everybody.
Thank you so much, Philip. And thank you for bringing forward also the point of transmission and knowledge of farmers. And one of the themes that CoFSA will be exploring is also farmers' mental health and well-being. And I think your example speaks to when there is a deep connection with nature, that well-being can be enhanced, and it's often when the disconnection is there. Nikita, I'm glad you raised your hand because I was hoping you'd take the floor. And I think you have a lot to share with us. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Charlotte. Can you hear me? Yes. Yes, I'm working in a training center, I would say school, for the European institutions, for European civil servants. And we have actually started 3 years ago to bring people in nature, to get them out of the office, leaders in particular, and really go and walk in nature. And it has been an extraordinary experience on many respects. I may not have a lot of time to talk about it now, maybe just give you a very practical example of what it can also trigger. We precisely work a lot on listening, just simply learning to listen, just walking side by side in silence, and then a moment somebody speaking. And for these leaders, it has been such an amazing experience just to see what is listening, what the effect it has on us to be listened to, and also the being inspired by others. But it's also about being inspired by nature. And we work a lot with questions. For instance, we ask them about thinking about a question, looking around, and what is the question you are holding. And then they walk for 20 minutes asking questions to each other about the question, which really creates something special in the brain, because you're trying to always rush for the answer, and the game is not to go for any answer. And then we stop and just look around and ask people, and now what does nature tell you about your question? And it has been so amazing. In the beginning, we thought, I mean, they will think we are crazy to do this because they're not used to that kind of, I mean, here we are maybe between like-minded people, but these are people that are working in their office and on policies and so on, lawyers and engineers. And some of them were uncomfortable, but very easily they started to learn and get really inspired and getting sometimes completely answered, not coming exactly the way they were thinking, and sometimes even on another answer to another question, but very clear answer. So this is just a very simple example, but of course, being in nature has also so many other effects, and one I would like to highlight as well is the connection, which was the word that was used, connection with nature, but also connecting with one another. The level of connection we get when we are together in nature is not the same as the one we get when we are in buildings. It really creates something of a different nature, and very naturally sense of community arise from just being together in nature. I don't want to take too much time, but there would be so much to share about. It has been an absolutely extraordinary experience for the last 3 years and unexpected, I must say, to bring leaders in nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikita. And please do share any web links or resources in the chat, and also with Noemi, she can send them in the email. And thanks for bringing this practice of asking a question to nature. I discovered it in Findhorn, and I've been using it often, and it's absolutely extraordinary. And I've also used it in workshops with, senior policymakers, and don't worry, everybody, you can do it. Most people love it. And they will find the answers. And I've actually even, when we created Listening Inspires, we took 1 whole hour of just everybody going to listen to nature. And then we came back and we did our planning. And our planning was so enriched by what we had all heard.
Fantastic.
Nature is a fantastic advisor. Yenori, my good friend Yenori, I'm happy you're here. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Charlotte, and thank you, everybody. This has been an amazing moment to be connected with all of you and with nature. I work with nutritional education and behavioral change, and I'm very passionate about the role of children and how powerful they are in all this transformation. So one of my ideas is really how to bring like these type of meditation moments to the school system. Because I think that's where we can start making the change so that the connection is not lost when we are adults. Here in Costa Rica, I'm from Costa Rica, so we're surrounded from nature, but sometimes the school settings are just buildings. So we are advocating for having trees, for having nature, for making this connection with farmers so that kids can really know where foods come from. But I really love like all the journey that Luis made at the beginning, because this is a very educational activity for children, and I think we need more and more these type of activities and advocate for this at the school system. And also at our level, for example, yesterday I just had a talk with Charlotte. I'm organizing a conference, and I said to her, like, every day I would like to have these meditation nature connection moments, because sometimes we are so overwhelmed with so many activities, and we can easily lose the purpose of why we're doing what we are doing. So once again, thank you. I'm really inspired. I feel connected with all of you. I'm looking forward more for this type of moments and experiences. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And actually, don't hesitate to put the website link to your conference. It'll be on empowering food citizens. And I'm sure that will be a theme that resonates with many of us. And if we can have nature connected food citizens, the food systems will be probably much healthier. Any other thoughts or questions or?
Charlotte, I just wanted to
Luis, go ahead.
To compliment Janari, and thank you. There is something that is really nice to do with children, and we've done it many times. We have several activities, and I'll share a link in a second, but it's called moving maps or emotional mapping. So you do basically a mini meditation, but then you go to the field and have people embody those relations and map the space relationally and emotionally. So they have to walk and feel the space and then draw it in such a way that their relations with plants, with the space itself, and with other things are manifested, and then having conversations on that relational perspective that's invisible in how we create relations and emotions and feelings of association with the natural world. And I think that really opens the door for children to speak and bring, really deep conversations into it.
Beautiful, thank you. I think we're all telling different version of the fact that when we live in connection with nature and with the awareness of what the natural world brings us, life is just simply more beautiful. It's just simply more worth living. I'm now going to hand over to Noemi, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the Conscious Food Systems Alliance, how you can engage, what's coming next. We'll have things on farmers' well-being, but also on conscious consumption, which is something very relevant to what Yenori just brought. And she's also preparing a rich library of links, which I think will answer some of the questions that are popping up in the chat. Do take the opportunity to connect bilaterally or share your contact details with those of you may want to exchange more with. But Yenori, the floor is yours. Sorry, I meant Noemi. I meant Noemi. Go ahead, Noemi.
Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you. So yes, thank you, Alice, for sharing the screen. So I'm Noemi, the community manager of the Conscious Food Systems Alliance. And for me, it's been a great honor to organize this session together with Charlotte, Luis, and Zara. So thank you very much for bringing your wisdom in this session today. So we are an alliance convened by UNDP. And we are a movement of food and agriculture consciousness practitioners united a common goal, which is to support people from across food and agriculture systems to cultivate the inner capacities that activate system change. So we are really trying to bring together those two sectors, consciousness and inner development and food and agriculture, in order to shift towards more regeneration. This is our calendar of events. We are convening every month, either a consciousness practice or a collective inquiry session. So we offer consciousness practice as the one of today for those that are interested in deepen their understanding and application of various practices related to inner development and how they can be leveraged for food systems transformation. And during this session, we have the opportunity to experience and practice them collectively, as we did. And the next one, as you can see from the calendar, will be in May on mindfulness. Then we have and we offer collective inquiry on the 6 areas of intervention of CoFSA that are highlighted in our Rationale for Action report available on the website. And during those collective inquiry, we put a particular emphasis on the identification of existing initiatives and methodologies and tools available, and opportunity for adaptation, replication, and scale up of those virtuous case studies. So the next upcoming event, the next slide, please, is on cultivating conscious local communities and cultures for regeneration. So it will happen on April 27. The session will explore how to help cultivate conscious and regenerative mindset and values and cultures among local communities to support the adoption of a regenerative agriculture practices. It will be moderated by Thomas, who is the CoFSA lead technical advisor, and we are glad to have 3 wonderful speakers, Pavel Chenk from Schumacher College, Sally Bogal from Gaia Education, and Genzo Yamamoto from Opportunity International. So the speakers have experience and knowledge on existing and tested initiatives and methodologies that have been proven to successfully help local community to embrace regenerative cultures. So I will put all the links in the chat, and if you want to know more about CoFSA, please just visit our website. We have an application form in order to become an official member of the Alliance, and we also have LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you want to follow and stay tuned on our events, please join us. And then I just hand over to Charlotte.
Thank you very much, Noemi. So thanks you, all of you. You are making the Alliance. The Alliance is constantly being enriched by the creativity experiences of all its members. We're learning together. There is no script. It's an exploration of joining experiences, knowledge, innovation, traditional wisdom in this quest to bring together the inner world, the outer world, so that our food systems can contribute to more prosperity, equity, and a thriving planet. So a huge thanks to Zara and Luis for these sharings. Thanks to all of you for what you've brought in terms of experiences, but simple presence. And we look forward to seeing you in future events, and you'll see, so Noemi is there, Alice can also raise her hand and introduce herself, Thomas, this is the little team behind the CoFSA Secretariat. We're always open to suggestions, and so we hope to see you in another space soon. If there's anything I haven't said, Thomas or Alice or Noemi, that I need to emphasize, otherwise we have a beautiful little video to conclude.
Thank you, Charlotte, and thank you, everyone. And we'll have more resources for the CoFSA members on the digital platform. So much more to share together and develop this agenda. Thank you.
Take a moment to go connect with nature in one way or the other as you get out of this Zoom room, because the live experience is also important. But let's go to our nice little video to conclude. Thank you, everybody.
The peace of wild things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world and am free.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Thank you. It was amazing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sarah. Thank you, Luis.
Thank you.
Bye.